I have a little extra stuffing, if you know what I mean.
Some Beanie Babies humor from the stars of the Beanie Bubble, Zach Galifianakis and Elizabeth Banks. And we've got the stories that define the week on People in 10. I'm Makon Jovu, bringing you everything you need to know about pop culture right now. 10 minutes are on the clock, so let's get to it with the first 5. Starting with 2 shocking Hollywood breakups. Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez have separated after 2 years of marriage. A source tells People that being long distance while Ari films Wicked in London impacted their relationship, while another source says they're now lovingly working on their friendship. Sofia Vergara and Joe Manganiello announced their split after 7 years of marriage, with an insider revealing they've been growing apart for some time.
I have been working on fixing my relationship.
But Sofia's famous friends are rallying around her as she celebrates her birthday in Italy, and as ABC announces their new Golden Bachelor.
It's never too late to fall in love again.
Dylan Sprouse said I do to Barbara Palvin in her native Hungary. And in Dubai, Lindsay Lohan gave birth to a baby boy, whom she and her husband Beta Shamus named Luai.
This is like mind-boggling. Totally.
A rep says the couple are over the moon in love as Lilo's co-stars send their well wishes to the new fam of 3. Well, after weeks, no months of waiting, the big screen debut of an icon is finally here.
Hi, Barbie!
Hi, Ken! Barbie's been omnipresent for me. I think there's this thing with Barbie. It's like Barbie can be anything, and she can be everything. She can be a doctor, she can go to space. Basically everything that men do in your world, women do in ours.
Barbie star Ryan Gosling says he had help from his kids to bring Ken to life.
There was something I had to prepare a lot for, and so they were at home while I was doing it. They knew it as well as I did, so they came to set the day I did it, and they were behind the camera, and they were like, almost like my coaches.
And his co-stars agree with the movie's overall message.
The beauty of what this movie is doing is like empowering personal expression.
Whether you love Barbie, whether you hate Barbie, this movie is for everyone.
We haven't played with Barbie since we were like 5 years old. Oh.
Meanwhile, director Greta Gerwig made sure the cast had fun on set by busting out some dance moves.
Greta would encourage the crew and everyone to sort of like join in, and it just felt like a theme party, really.
Every day was a party.
Moving on now to the crime stories you've been following closely on People.com.
Investigators are still working to figure out how and why 25-year-old Carlee Nicole Russell went missing before she reappeared on her parents' doorstep Saturday night.
I had to stand back because she was not in a good state.
Carlee disappeared last Thursday after telling a 911 dispatcher that she saw a toddler walking alone along an Alabama highway.
Police say they've since spoken to Carlee and are following up on the information she provided.
She and her family had previously claimed that she was kidnapped.
But now, police say that they can't confirm those claims, and due to some internet searches she allegedly made prior to her disappearance,
like searching for details about Amber Alerts, one-way bus tickets, and the movie Taken,
there are now more questions than answers. Authorities say they hope to speak with Carlee again for some clarity.
This as an arrest was made in the Long Island serial killer case more than a decade after the bodies of multiple young women were discovered along Gilgo Beach in New York.
Police say that 59-year-old architect Rex Heuermann of Massapequa Park is responsible for at least 3 of those murders, and they're now investigating whether he may have even kept trophies from the killings.
According to prosecutors, hairs found on the victims' bodies were a vital piece of evidence.
Police allege Heuermann committed the murders while his wife and 2 children were out of state. They say his family is shocked, embarrassed, and disgusted after his arrest.
And we're learning more about some trouble in paradise for supermodel Gigi Hadid.
People can confirm that Gigi was arrested and fined $1,000 as she arrived in the Cayman Islands last week after marijuana and drug paraphernalia were found in her luggage.
A local outlet reports that officials discovered ganja and utensils used for its consumption.
The quantities were reportedly small, seemingly for personal use.
Hadid pled guilty to the charge on July 12th, but no conviction was recorded against her. She has since been released.
A rep for Gigi tells people that she was traveling with marijuana purchased legally in New York City with a medical license. They noted it has also been legal for medical use in Grand Cayman since 2017 and said her record remains clear.
And by the looks of it, Hadid is already putting it behind her, writing on Instagram Tuesday, "All's well that ends well." Next up, the post you've been loving this week. Magic Johnson and his wife Cookie's Mediterranean vacation continues, and now it's a family affair, with their kids and grandkids joining them on their super yacht. HGTV's Erin Napier is showing off her man and the results of his recent hardcore health and fitness journey. Mission accomplished. And Ben, you're always on our list. John Legend is spending some quality boys' time in a little pajama party with newborn Ren Alexander and 4-year-old Miles Theodore, while his wife Chrissy Teigen tried and relatably failed to get a pic with all 4 of their kids, and Idris Elba has joined the chat.
Give it up for this big guy, right? Give it up.
A Twitter user joked about the underrated embarrassing moment when your phone's flashlight turns on by mistake, writing he could never picture it happening to Idris Elba. Well, now we know it could. Now, let's move on to some screen time. I'm so excited today to be joined by Zach Galifianakis and Elizabeth Banks, who star in The Beanie Bubble, which premieres in select theaters July 21st and streams globally July 28th on Apple TV+.
Ty would tell you he did it all, which is as crazy as believing stuffed animals are gold.
Now I'm gonna ask you both 5 questions. For question number 1, you'll give me 1 answer, and question number 2, you'll give me 2 answers, and so on and so forth. Are y'all ready to get started?
Yes, okay.
I feel like even if you had no idea what a Beanie Baby was, the concept of this story is so interesting. So, can you name 1 reason you were drawn to this film?
I loved the character of Robbie. I thought she was so inspirational. Just a woman who carved out this life, rags to riches story, overcoming this guy in her life who she trusted and who betrayed her trust and really would have left her with nothing.
You try to find characters that are layered and interesting or not as comedic. This was a comedic role, but I think I also had to show this other darker side to a goofy personality, and that attracted me to be able to show maybe a muscle that I haven't been able to show in the past.
Do you have any memories that stick out to you in the 90s during the Beanie Baby craze?
I certainly knew of it out there. It was definitely in the makeup of the culture, but I was mostly just wearing Laura Ashley dresses back then. Do you remember Laura Ashley? You may be way too young. I'm old, so my references don't make any sense.
I remember my brother having them, and I certainly knew about Beanie Babies, of course. I don't speculate with my hard-earned money. It's just not my nature.
Both of your characters rock such specific looks throughout this movie. Are there 2 items from your character's look you would incorporate into your everyday wardrobe?
Shoulder pads. Come on. They make your waist look smaller and they feel powerful, and I feel powerful in them.
No, I can answer that right off the... I'm never gonna walk around with a cane or a pink 3-piece. I mean, this is about as dolled up as I can get.
All right, Elizabeth, let's play a little game. Marry, shag, or kill. Acting, producing, or directing.
Acting, I would marry. Producing, I would kill. And directing, I would shag.
Shag directing, huh?
I mean, you gotta with that.
Your characters are so complex and complicated. Name 3 interesting dynamics of your character in this movie.
Navigating a man's world, navigating big personalities. Honestly, a lot of my research was about the psychological notions of gender power dynamics. I think it's really interesting that Ty, you know, he didn't partner with men. He was threatened by other men. He was not threatened by women. And I think that's a sort of a power dynamic that sort of sits in our society and allows men to take advantage of women all the time.
Well, he, like most of us, he's got some layers and complications to him. I had made up my mind that he needed to be somewhat charming to allure people to come get behind his vision. That alluring was probably done through his wardrobe, his quirky, weird personality. I don't know, I would even feel comfortable in an elevator with that kind of personality.
If you had Ty on Between Two Ferns, how long do you think he'd last?
God, that's a good idea to have him on. I actually think he probably has an interesting, funny sense of humor. I would imagine he's probably funny.
Now, we all love the Beanie Babies, but I'm curious to know, what are 4 things you collected in the 90s?
I was a struggling actress living in New York in a tiny apartment. So I mostly owned clothes. That's what I owned. And makeup and hair products, shoes. That's what I own. Come on. That's what a woman in her 20s is collecting.
I read that the film had to make Beanie Babies from scratch. What character would you create into a Beanie Baby if you could?
It'd have to be Ty, even though my version of Ty is much more snuggly than the real Ty. I have a little extra stuffing, if you know what I mean. And I'm talking about my fatness. Nothing, that's not a sexual.
And finally, can you give us 5 reasons everyone should go see The Beanie Bubble?
It's a really kind of fun look at a past craze.
It's just a fun, wild ride about a time in history.
I think this is just a really interesting story.
Really, it's about the little guy overcoming.
And I think it is also a canary in a coal mine for where we are now.
Have you considered poisoning him? Countless times.
Thank you both for joining me today. Now, everyone, be sure to check out The Beanie Bubble, which premieres in select theaters on July 21st and streams globally July 28th on Apple TV+. All right, time's up. See you back here next Thursday.